What does the gas pedal actually do? Traditionally, either let more air into the engine in a petrol engine or injected more fuel into the engine in a diesel engine. Nowadays, it basically tells the computer in your car's engine that you want more power, which means it will do things like let more air in, inject more fuel, make the spark plug fire sooner, and probably some others I'm missing. Traditionally, in carbureted engines, it opens the throttle valve, allowing more air into the engine. The fuel mixture responds and increases appropriately to keep the air-fuel ratio correct. On newer drive-by-wire and fuel-injected engines, it works similarly, though there may not be a direct physical connection to the throttle pedal. The engine computer controls the air-fuel ratio based on inputs from the mass airflow sensor, the electronic accelerator pedal position sensor, and others. Opens the throttle. Sounds like it's time to rewatch the Magic School Bus engine episode, haha. On modern cars, it tells the ECU to open the throttle flap, allowing for more airflow into the engine and apply more fuel through the injectors. On carbureted engines, it opens the throttle flap, and ensuing vacuum from more air flowing past the throttle flap draws more fuel out of the fuel tank. If you are driving a diesel, older diesel engines don't have a throttle flap, so it just applies more fuel through the injectors. Diesels have a throttle flap, but it's not as crucial as gasoline engines also applies more fuel through the injectors. When you press the gas pedal in a car, you're essentially controlling the engine's power output. Here's how it works in a bit of technical detail. 1. Throttle control. Pressing the gas pedal moves the throttle, which is a valve that controls how much air enters the engine. In older cars, this was done mechanically via a cable. In modern cars, it's usually done electronically drive-by-wire with sensors sending signals to the engine control unit ECU. 2. Air intake. As the throttle opens, more air is allowed into the engine's intake manifold. 3. Fuel injection. The ECU senses the increased airflow and calculates the appropriate amount of fuel to inject into the combustion chamber to maintain the optimal air-fuel ratio. 4. Combustion. The mixture of air and fuel is then compressed and ignited in the cylinders, creating a controlled explosion that pushes the pistons down and generates power. 5. Power output. This power is then transferred through the drivetrain to the wheels, increasing the car's speed. So, pressing the gas pedal ultimately adjusts the amount of air and fuel entering the engine, which changes the combustion process and results in increased power and speed. On a reg gas ICE engine, the pedal opens the throttle plate to feed more air. In turn, the computer adds fuel to maintain the air-fuel mixture ratio. On a diesel, the throttle pedal adds fuel instead, as diesel engine can run really lean, so it's easier to just manage fueling and let the engine suck in all the air on its own. Make car go vroom. Engines are essentially air pumps. The more air your engine can take in, the more fuel can mix with that air to make more power. The gas pedal more or less opens the air intake to allow more air in, either directly like on older cars or indirectly through the computer on newer ones. That is why turbochargers and superchargers increase the power output of an engine. They compress the air going into the engine so that you can cram more air into the same volume inside the cylinder. The more air you have, the more fuel you can mix with it, the more power your engine makes. It sends more electricity to the engine. Typically, we call it drive-by-wire, where the traditional mechanical wire is replaced by electronics. The pedal produces a response which is translated to an electric throttle body, which opens the intake to intake more air. In tandem, the ECU recognizes this and produces more fuel to make the optimum fuel O2 combination. This is why newer vehicles are easier to tune for more horsepower, especially with turbo motors. This is because you can trick the ECU to enhance these ratios for more power. It pushes a little thing that's hooked to a doodad under the hood. The doodad gets moved by the thing that got pushed. Doodad opens a little valve kind of thingy which allows fuel to be vaporized and then injected into the up-down thing. The more fuel, the faster car goes. You push it and it make car go zoom. My old auto shop teacher taught us suck, squeeze, bang, blow. It sucks in air, the piston squeezes, the spark plug ignites, and it blows exhaust fumes out the exhaust. The gas pedal is connected to the throttle, which does all the work. The Wikipedia.org wiki throttle text equals when 20 the 20 driver 20 presses 20 on communicates 20 it 20 to 20 the 20 ECU article on it goes into great detail. It changes how much gasoline, if any, gets injected into the engine. If it's not pressed, there is no gasoline in the engine, so nothing goes boom and makes the thingies go round. If you press it down, gasoline starts to get squirted into the engine where it gets zapped and goes boom and makes things go round. If you press it down harder, even more gasoline gets squirted into the engine, gets zapped and goes big bada boom and makes things go round faster. The irony is that it was an air pedal. It still is on most diesels, I think. Now, the injection of gasoline and air is more careful and stoichiometric. It unleashes the Kraken. In older cars it opened the carbs up, flooding gasoline in to be burned by the engine to make car go vroom. Make car go vroom.